let's make this an interactive conversation. Tell me, what is your favorite thing about being child free and single if you are? For me, it's the freedom. I absolutely love not having to worry about anyone but myself, and I love sleeping in. I'm not a morning person, so when the weekends come around, I get to sleep in. And also, I'm very, very spontaneous. So if I feel like booking a random trip to somewhere around the world, I have the opportunity to. And I work very, very, very hard to be out where I'm at today. So I can afford to buy myself some really nice things. So I feel that I'm very blessed to not have to worry about a husband or kids. And don't let society pressure you into thinking that you should have those things, right, in order to be happy. So, anyways, again, tell me, what is your favorite part about being child free and single?
Being 30 plus and not having a child or children is a flex, because fatherhood is just way too optional. Like, fathers can decide that they don't want to be full-time fathers anymore. They want to be part-time fathers anymore. Or they can opt out of parenthood, fatherhood altogether, and just decide that they don't want to do it at all. And guess what? Those children are left with the mother. The mother becomes solely responsible for those children no matter what, simply because the father just doesn't want to be involved. And so the fact that these women have gone through their 20s, 30s, and 40s without bringing a child into the world shows that they have been very intentional with their lives. Now, I know there's a lot of negative comments about, why they don't have children, but for whatever reason, they don't have a child. They have been able to watch other women in motherhood and make an informed decision about choosing not to become a mother. And that is something to be celebrated. That is something that they should be able to share the content. Just like mothers get on TikTok and share their content, child-free women should be able to do that without them seeming like they're trying to brag. Because why would that be a brag if you are a mother who's happy being a mother? And this is coming from a mom of one. I'm happy that I have one. And of course I'm done. I tell y'all that all the time. But that shouldn't be something that's aggravating to you if you are happy being a mother. The thing about it is, a lot of women are not, because they were not intentional or they were not informed, and they had children without the full picture of what motherhood entails.
As a mother of one daughter, I am here to tell every woman that's deciding that they don't want to have kids to stay with that thought. I fully support you. I love my daughter, but I yearn and miss the days when I didn't have to worry about another human being. I miss the days on Saturday when I didn't have to wake up and feed a kid breakfast. Have you been in a school pickup line? Any mother coming online pretending that they're in pure bliss and don't miss the days when they didn't have kids and have that responsibility is a liar. Get off of this. You look dumb. Take your village and go suffer in silence.
So earlier today, I was having a conversation with my mom because we were talking about my graduation and all this stuff and how proud of me she was. And she was saying, oh, maybe one day you'll have kids and you'll understand like what this feeling is, like this happiness feeling. Like, I know you happy, but being a parent is also, it's also a very good thing. And I love it. I love how proud she is of me. I love how happy she is of me. But that kids thing, I was trying my hardest, and I'd be like, girl, that ain't happening. You can forget about that. Like, this is for me. This is for me. And I'm at that age now where a lot of people are starting to have kids, and it's like you're starting to see more baby showers than you are weddings, which is crazy to me. But I'm more of a marriage type guy. Don't do the kids, but let's get married. Like, let's put all our energy and resources into each other. But anyway, I was thinking, I was like, I'm gonna make a video, give my top 5 reasons. This is like a video diary for me, and I'm just happen to be sharing it. But some of my top 5 reasons of why I do not want kids. Number 1 is I don't like to do stuff that I don't want to do. Why would I willingly bring somebody into this world so I can do a lot of stuff, a bunch of stuff that I don't want to do. I don't want to interact with the K-12 school system again. I don't want to go through that. I don't want to have to haul a kid back and forth to daycare, to practice, to who shot John, all this. No, I'm not for that. I am a party boy. I like to go out and party. I like to do what I want to do. I cannot imagine having to lug a child everywhere and do a bunch of stuff that I don't want to do. Number two is I like to spend my money on me. I have expensive hobbies. Sneakers are expensive. Video games are expensive. I like to travel, stuff like that. And I can't do that if I got a child. And I'm not willing to sacrifice those things for somebody that didn't need to be here. 3, I don't have that responsibility. The thought of being solely responsible, legally and solely responsible for another human being, why would I want that? I have never looked at a child and said, yeah, I want this one day. Never. I've never lived like that. And I'm the oldest. I'm the oldest of 3. I've never looked at a child and thought, I would like one on my own. That's just never a thought that I had. 4, teaching somebody how to exist. I do not want to have to sit a child down and explain to them why the world is as messed up as it is. I don't have that in me to sit a child, because then now I'm also going to be sitting there. If they think anything like me and if they can sit down and critically think about the world and they bring up the question of, well, why did you have me if you knew the world was this messed up? Now that heart shattered. I don't have it in me to explain that to a child, because the reason that I would have to get them as to why I had them would be selfish. It would be a selfish reason. It would be something that would be starting with I. And that's just not, I don't have the capacity to do that. Number 5 is I don't want that type of stress. Life is stressful enough. I could not imagine having to add it on stress of making sure somebody else eat at night, making sure somebody else got what they need, making sure they got X, Y, and Z. If I was going to do that, I'm going to get that to a dog. I'd rather get that type of energy and time to a dog as opposed to another human being. It's enough kids here already. I don't need to have one. But hey, maybe one day my mama will realize, well, hell, by the time I get 50, I guess, that she realized I ain't had that yet. I guess she'll finally be like, well, I guess he was serious. I was dead serious.
Now that I think about it, as somebody that grew up wanting 8 to 10 kids, as someone who is under 100 years old and who was a new person in this 2025, it's a fuck no for me. I never want to have a kid. No. Because when you actually become an adult and you realize, oh, this life shit can life for real, I don't understand how you would also want to add a kid to it. Specifically for me, it takes so much energy to be me. It takes so much energy to just be me and maintain my sanity at the same time. To be me and maintain my sanity in this world? Oh, baby, that takes all my energy. I take all my energy to exist as me in this world. I take a lot of energy just to be. I have none to spare to a little kid, a little mini me. I have none to spare. Growing up, I kind of had it rough, and now that I'm an adult, I'm just completely dedicated to just having a good time doing me and forever nurturing my inner child. I don't have time to actually nurture an actual child. I don't have the energy left over after nurturing me and my inner child to nurture a literal child. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, I don't know how people do it. And then I see people who have 2, 3, 4, 5, and I'm like, how do you do it? And I feel like after the shock of 1 and 2, like the shock of, damn, I really have to take care of these people forever, I think they just get numb and they just start popping them bitches out. Like, I mean, they just popping the precious sacred children out like they're adopting puppies. Or adopting goldfish. Like, I really think that's what happens, because in a way, not we're living in the same world, and you want to. Okay, all I know is that some people are meant to do that, and that's great for them. They have that in them. I don't. As of now, as of till further notice, probably till forever, it's just me and myself an eye forever.
And I have to say, probably the best thing about my tubes being removed and just not even having to worry about it is like, I'm never gonna have one of those months where I accidentally like skip my period and I have to go buy a pregnancy test. Oh, but you'll never find me in that aisle. Ever. Not me, bitches. The pregnancy test industry will not be making any bucks off of me. Ever. So, yeah, that's one of my favorite things to think about when I remember. Because honestly, at this point, I keep forgetting that it was done. So, yeah, just wanted to let you all know that if you ever see me in the pregnancy test aisle, it's because I'm buying it for somebody else.
I'm not having kids because my birthday is Christmas Eve. We don't have money for my birthday gifts and you to have Christmas. That's just unreasonable, bro. And I was here first. Don't make no fucking sense for me to change my whole lifestyle because you want some gifts. Santa not even fucking real, bro. And then what's crazy, once I buy you gifts for Christmas, who buys me gifts? I'm the parent. No. Like every year for my birthday, I have a crab cake, a ribeye, and 2 alcoholic drinks at a fancy restaurant. And if I go with my friends, whatever, the tab is no less than $400. How could I spend $400 on dinner and then wake up in the morning and then do Christmas shit? That's stupid. And think about it, 1 week after my birthday, rent is due. And that's already a choice, like, do I want to pay that or not? Like, right? Like, I'm already okay with kind of risking my home so I can have a good birthday. But then I can't do that if I have kids. Like, ugh, that's neglectful. So, like, I bought this Christmas tree, right? And it was like $50. And I was okay with that. But, like, I'm going to use this Christmas tree till it falls off the bone. It came with the lights. I wasn't buying no extra lights. Like, I probably should buy more ornaments, but I'm like, I don't need that much ornaments. Like, I personally like it the way it is. Like, I don't need it more Christmassy than that. If you got a kid, you gotta put, but I guess gifts underneath that tree. My dog don't need no fucking gifts underneath the tree. Like, no, not appealing. Like it's too expensive. Like, ugh. And then how many gifts? Like, you don't even buy just one gift on Christmas. Like, you're supposed to buy multiple. Like, no. And then that's just if you have, like, one kid. Like, what if you have multiple kids? No. And then you gotta tell them that Santa did it. Not even you. So they can't even appreciate the sacrifice because they're kids. They're magic of Christmas. No, bitch. I spent $2,000. Mommy did that. Say, thank you, mommy. What the fuck? You only cookies for me, not Santa ho. Then I gotta buy the cookies or bake them. Like, no. No.
You know I got the sauce. You know I'm saucy, and it's always wet. A bitch never ever had to use lip gloss on it. I'ma need you deeper than sex, not a coffin. When I'm making love, trying to get nasty.
Being child free and trying to date at 34 is dumb as fuck. Because why do all you motherfuckers have children with no ex-wives? You have children and you want more children, or you want children, and I'm child free. And I'm not dating these fucking children. I'm not dating anybody who's in their 20s. I'm not doing that. And don't come in the comments talking about some bullshit of, what if their kids are teenagers or they're grown? No, because I don't want children. I don't want kids. I am child free. And damn sure if their kids are in their 20s, it's like the man is older and their kids are in their 20s. And that's opening the door for grandchildren. I don't want to be around them. Unless it's your nephews and nieces and my nephews and nieces, I don't want to be around kids. But dating in your 30s is dumb as fuck.
And like, I want you to know, anytime you come on my page and you're like, but if you have kids, you'll get this, or you'll get that, or you'll get this. I don't care. There's a reason I don't care. I got my tubes removed in April. The fuck do I care? I cannot get pregnant. I cannot have children anymore. I did that on purpose. So I don't care. Don't comment on it. I don't care. I don't care what your joys of motherhood are. I don't care. It does not apply to me because it never can apply to me. Do you get that? A lot of y'all don't get that. You're like in the comments trying to convince me to have kids, and I literally just can't have them anymore. Like, you're weird for that. I want you to know that you're weird for that. I've said many times on my page that I got my tubes removed. So if you're still commenting that, you're just weird.
Don't do it. Save yourself. They say single women with no kids are the happiest women. And I believe it. I believe it.
Age of 14, I knew motherhood was not a hood I wanted to be a part of. You know, I'm a gangster, but I'm a sensitive one. I'm a softie. I don't do this whole authority figure type stuff because I don't even know what I'm doing. I'll be the first one to let it be known I am winging it over here. It feels so good not to have to put on a performance to a little human to act like I know what I'm doing here when I don't know anything. I am prioritizing my mental health. So if I don't feel like going to work, I'm not. If I want to sleep in, I will. I don't got to explain myself. I don't got to ask for permission. If I want to drink a whole bottle of wine because I want to, I will. Life is truly unpredictable. It's spontaneous and it's unknown. But when you're really in the present moment, it's top tier because it feels like you're in a movie. I know I might get some random calls one day talking about, hey, I'm filming something in Africa. You able to come? I don't have to think twice about it. I'm there. I don't have nothing holding me back or tying me down. I'm out of here.
I know this is going to be maybe rather unpopular to say, but not having kids has really allowed some doors to be open for me. I was just driving home just a couple minutes ago, and I was sitting here thinking about how I wouldn't be able to grasp some opportunities if I had opted into the young parent lifestyle. And really not a young parent lifestyle, because I'm 32 at this point now. So if you're in your 30s and have kids, that makes sense, you know what I'm saying? But it's just so many opportunities over the last 6 months to a year have opened up, and I'm just like, wow, I wouldn't have been able to say, hey, I'm gonna go live overseas for a year, or I'm gonna move across country all of a sudden, or just do a career pivot, you know? I've pivoted my career maybe like 3-ish times in the last 4 years. I wouldn't be able to do that if I have kids, because I'd have to worry about their long-term stability and what's better for them, instead of just grasping at opportunities that will just shoot me off to places I didn't even imagine possible. Yeah, so I guess the point of my video is that those of you who are in your early to mid 20s, thinking about having kids, give it another year or two and see what it feels like, because you're being to a more professional part of your career, and you could miss out on some opportunities to have some really cool experiences if you are tied down to an area because of the family you've created. So just my food for thought on a muggy ass Wednesday in Massachusetts.
So since we're on the topic of child-free people having more time on their hands, why is it that people with kids don't respect your time when you don't have kids? I don't like that, because I still have shit to do. So here's an example. I have 2 examples, and these are both work examples, which is actually alarming. So the first one, hold on. So when I was 19, I had 2 jobs. I was working 7 days a week at this time. My main full-time job was, I believe, Monday through Friday, like 3 to 10, something like that. And my second job was like Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and it was overnight. So you can see I was very consumed with work. Like, those 3 days that I wasn't working both jobs were my days to rest, rightfully so. So my second job, which is my part-time job, I had just started that job, and they were telling me that it was a mandatory staff meeting. Every single person had to be there. but it was literally at 3 o'clock on a Monday. Who the fuck makes a staff meeting at 3 o'clock on a Monday? Because I have a full-time job. So I told her that. I was like, I have a full-time job. I won't be able to make it to the staff meeting. This lady looked me in my eyes and said, I don't care. People with kids can make it work. You have to make it work. What does that have to do with me? If I don't have a kid, my time isn't as precious? That doesn't make any sense to me. Like, at all. Like that. I just looked at her like, girl, I'm not coming. This is my part-time job. I'm not coming to this staff meeting. I'm not missing out on my full-time money for my part-time job. So if you need to fire me, let me know now. And I still have my job after that. And then this example is a little bit more recent. This was like a year or two ago. I was working in a facility where someone needed to be there at all times because we were working with individuals with developmental disabilities, right? I was working, my shift was 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. And I would pick up shifts. I would stay there until 9 p.m. So I was working 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. most days. And this happened on, like, say it was a Thursday. It was at the end of the week. The entire week from Monday to Wednesday, or Monday to Thursday, that day, I worked from 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. My coworker, it was just two of us there. My coworker was like, oh, well, I have to go get my son. Do you think I care? I've been here since 7 a.m. I'm leaving. Like, I don't give a fuck if you have to go get your son or not. I'm going. You got here at 3 o'clock and you're leaving at 9 o'clock. I got here at 7 a.m. I'm leaving before you. And my manager had my back. But the assistant manager was trying to defend him, like, but he has a son at home. Me and the manager was like, we don't care. This is your job. So when it comes to people with children, I'm sorry, but the world is not here to accommodate you just because you have kids. Because I don't care that you have kids. Sorry, like, you need to manage your time better because you have kids, not me.
So happy being single and being child free. I feel like I wouldn't give up the love of my children for the world. It's not personal and I don't really know. Well, at the end of the day, you're gonna die alone, and who's gonna be there when you're old? And how are you gonna run up into my house and tell me I'm gonna die alone?
One huge reason that I decided to never have kids is because I have never in my entire life met a man who was good enough to be the father of my kids. I've never once in my life met a man who was tall enough, who was stable enough, who was handsome enough, who was intelligent enough, who had the right features, who had the right family history, etc., to be considered to even be in the runnings to be the father of my child. And I'll never in my life forget one time one of my perpetual baby mama ex-friends asked me, well, why don't you have kids? We're about to be in our 30s. It's time. And I looked at her and I said, I've never met a man who's good enough to be the father of my child. This woman turned to me and said, oh, that part doesn't really matter. If you really want to be a mother, if you really want to have a baby, it doesn't really matter who the father of your kid is. You having the baby is the most important thing. I honestly had to stop being friends with her shortly after that because she felt some kind of way about that conversation. If you're a child-free woman and women with kids keep coming around you chirping about why you don't have kids, let them know that you actually have high standards for the man you might one day reproduce. That's why it's not been so easy for you like it has for them.
And like, men will get on here and be like, my grandma stayed with my grandpa for 60 years and my mom stayed with my dad for 50 years. It's because your mom couldn't leave. Like, especially like your grandma and your great grandma, like, literally they weren't even allowed to have their own bank accounts. They could not open their own businesses. They could not do any, like, of course she fucking stayed, she had to. And who do you think is telling us to not get married and have kids? Because let me tell you one thing my grandma told me. She was like, good for you. Men suck. And having kids kind of ruins your life. Like, who do you think told me that? Also, my mom has said the same thing. She was someone who was a teen mom. And she says all the time, not in a mean way, but like, she can't imagine like the things she would have gotten to do if she wouldn't have had my brother so young. Because it's the truth. So who do you think is telling us these things?
because my house is pretty much always clean. It's getting cold here in Michigan, so we had a pest control company come out and just set some traps outside so that things from the outside, don't wander inside our house. And the pest control person was saying, yeah, I don't see any signs of activity. Like, you guys should be good. Looks like you run a very tight ship here. Of course, I took that as a compliment because we really do try to keep our house in order. I was telling my husband, that really made me happy when the guy said that he could tell, the house was well taken care of. And he was like, yeah, we don't have any kids. Of course, there's a couple other reasons for that he mentioned. We're really trying to keep our clutter down. Both of our pets don't really do anything. That was literally the first thing out of his mouth, is that we don't have children. That helps us keep our house clean. As somebody who grew up with more clutter in the house than I would have preferred, it is something that is very important to me in my adulthood, that I keep my space clean. When you have children, particularly young children, sometimes that's just not possible. And that's one of the many things that I'm just not willing to give up.
1000% yes. I also agree with this. Even though I am team child free, I have no desire to be a mother. I firmly believe women should be able to do what makes them happy. If you are somebody who's dreamed of having kids and having a family, I love that for you. Stick with that. If that is your life dream, you want nothing more in life, I think that's amazing. But I think the whole conversation around this child-free conversation is, I think, a lot of people give child-free people slack for not wanting to have kids and don't you want to be a mom, XYZ, but also the fact that people should be able to do whatever they want to do, whether that's have kids or not have kids. And I know I don't work in corporate America, well, in the 9-to-5 sense, but I know a lot of child-free people who don't have kids are often, taken advantage of because people assume oh, because you don't have kids, you have all the time in the world, or you're not busy, or XYZ, when really people who choose not to have kids for whatever reason or not are not just sitting at home on vacation. Like the initial girl who went viral for this whole thing, she assumes people who have no children are sitting on vacation, which is not true. We all have things we're doing, we're hustling, we're just trying to survive at this point. But yes, I will agree with that. And I think too, like you said, there is some fear mongering about, oh, you won't have free time. It's traumatic, XYZ. And while that's only a small percentage for people, there are so many women and mothers out there who are like, this is the best thing that's ever happened to me. Being a mother made me a great person. And so, yeah, I do want to respond to this comment because even though I'm talking a lot about being child free in these videos that I'm making, I do also want to point out this aspect of, for you, if that is something you want, if that's something you've always dreamed of, I think that's amazing. And I think we should just let women do what they want to do. And yeah, I do think we need to keep in mind the fear mongering that's happening towards women who say, oh, they want to have kids. And listen, maybe I might have been guilty of it in some of my videos, but it's just my perspective. I'm not fear mongering at all. I'm just saying my personal truth about why we've chosen not to have kids. But I think if you were somebody, whether you're a mom, a dad, and you've wanted this for your whole life and it's something you love and you absolutely love being a parent, I think that's amazing because those are the parents who thrive. The parents who love being parents, you can see it in their kids. You can see how they're raised. You can see that those kids are thriving. And then you can see the difference in the parents who didn't want to have their kids and regret. Someone wrote in my comment that they just found out that their dad told them there's 4 siblings. The dad's in his 60s and said, oh, I never wanted any kids. Then went on to have 4 kids. To me, that's crazy. And I guess because back in the day, that was the thing you did. So no one really probably thought they couldn't not have kids. And now we're moving in the conversation of people are, following their gut and what they want for themselves. But yeah, I want to say, I love this comment. That's why I wanted to video respond to this, because I know we're having open dialogue between everything, whether you're team child-free or team you want to have children and whatnot. I just like to talk about the fact that people just need to be thinking critically about when they choose to have kids and what all it entails. And if you've critically thought about it and you still are like, yep, this is what I want, we've dreamed of it, we want to be parents, I also think that's amazing because we do need really great parents out there because sadly, I fear there's a lot of shitty parents out there, and we need to take that back.
To the face you make when I tell you that I had to leave. Was it sad, grays in the sky? Sometimes I don't want to feel those metal eyes.
It's 12:30. You wanna know where I'm at?
In the bed.
had no kids. I ain't have to get up and make breakfast. The only ass I had to worry about wiping was my own. You wanna know why? Because I don't have no kids. Guess what? If I wanted to go get a 4x4 right now, I can have all my nuggets to myself. I don't have to worry about hearing chicken nugget. I don't have to hear none of that. You wanna know why? Because I ain't got no kids.
Every time parents get on this platform and do the whole,
oh, people without kids, y'all have no clue how good it is, and your life must be so easy.
You know what's really concerning? I think a lot of people who have that mindset are just exposing that they didn't get to live life at all to understand what being an adult is actually like. They went from being a teenager or being a child to being a parent. So they don't quite understand the unique struggles of having to take care of just yourself. They don't understand the unique struggles of trying to undo your own childhood trauma, because a lot of them didn't. They had a child and mommy became their identity. That's truly how I'm reading the situation. A lot of them did not get the time to understand what it's like to live alone, to have to pay all your bills, to go to work, and to not know what's next. When you get thrown into parenthood, the only thing you can really focus on is the needs of your child, is the health and well-being of your child. A lot of y'all never had to experience what it's like to worry about your own health and well-being. Spoiler alert, it's a full-time job. Taking care of yourself is exhausting. And it's something that you have to do. Being a parent is not. I know one thing, I don't get time off because I have to take my kid to the doctor or to the dentist, or I have to be at their soccer game or their swim meet or their dance recital. I don't get time off for that. I'm expected to be at work 24/7 because I'm the designated single person without kids.
You want to know something that really chaps my cheeks every single time I see it? When y'all sit up there and say that child-free women have had abortions and that's why they don't have kids. Do y'all know what this is? I guess not. Stop projecting your low self-esteem and lack of self-respect onto child-free women. And even if a child-free woman did have an abortion, just like it was your decision to bring kids into poverty and suffering, it was their decision not to.
When you're a single and child-free woman who is loud and proud about being single and child-free, please don't underestimate the moments when you will feel grief, like this random bout of grief, thinking about the life that you could have had or the life that you see others have that, makes you question, should I try that or should I have tried that? Please don't dismiss that, and please don't delude yourself or believe anyone who tells you that you're not going to experience that. Don't. We're human. Decentering men requires you as a woman centering your humanity and acknowledging all the fullness of your humanity, the good and the bad. And that can mean sometimes looking around and saying, am I doing the right thing? Am I making the right choice here? What's my life going to look like when I'm elderly? Or what's my life looking like right now? You know what I mean? There is nothing wrong with that. That is part of the process. Don't try to skip past it or walk past it. And by the same token, don't allow that temporary moment of grief to fool you into making a lifelong commitment or decision that you may pay for later. What we have to understand about grief of all kinds, whether it's grieving a loved one who has passed, or whether it's grieving, something that you never have even experienced, is that it's random. It comes and it goes, it ebbs and it flows. It's like the waves of the ocean, right? And our modern day society, even our technology and our social media platforms certainly don't help with that. One of my mutuals, Mel Hamlet, has spoken about this openly, that she really had to sit in her child-free single status when she approached her late 30s, and she didn't have a child yet and wasn't married yet, but she also wasn't like a nuclear physicist who discovered how to split an atom 4 ways, right? And she had to really sit and become extremely comfortable with what she professed in her 20s and early 30s, you know what I mean? And how it changed her perspective. And there was a lot of commentary going on that I recognize that we implicitly do, even towards single child-free women whom we say we're accepting towards. Yeah, we like women who are single and child-free when they're like big name CEOs of Fortune 500 companies, or when they're powerful elected officials, or when they're multi-millionaire famous actresses, actors, or entertainers, or something like that. Well, you know, it's when it comes to like real everyday life and like casual life, a single child-free woman isn't quite as celebrated if she's not like curing cancer, right? Or if she's not discovering something new or inventing something new and her face isn't on the cover of Forbes or Time magazine, right? And just being allowed to be a regular degular woman who, you know, your ambition ebbs and flows and your desires for a fast-paced career ebb and flow, just being allowed to be that while still being single and child-free, it's a work in progress, and you have to give yourself grace. Again, decentering men requires centering yourself as a woman, and that means centering your humanity and all that comes with your humanity. The happiness, the sadness, the wistfulness, the wondering, the questioning, the grief, the joy, the loneliness, right? We have to talk about those things, and we also have to make space for experiencing those things without painting it in language that is regretful, or without painting it in language that is sad, as though, well, you lost out on something. Because on the other hand, you can look at all that you've gained. How I approach it sometimes is I remind myself I am literally the first woman in my bloodline on both my mother and father's side who could be a 33-year-old, highly educated, independent, child-free woman who is not in any way, shape, or form legally or socially required to be married or be a mother in order to have my own housing. You know, something as simple as that. In order to have a roof over my own head where my home isn't somewhere where I'm trapped with an abusive man, or trapped with a child that I really didn't want, or, you know, trapped with a life that I really didn't want for myself but had no choice. I'm the first woman in my bloodline to be able to experience that. And painting it that way and kind of giving it that perspective and, you know, taking a step back and looking at it that way absolutely helps. Because we are human and we can be vulnerable to an extent, okay? You know, curtail how vulnerable you are when you're expressing yourself on social media, absolutely. But we can have these conversations. And I think ignoring these conversations or kind of glossing over them, or, no, I'm still a girl boss, I'm still an ultimate so-and-so, that doesn't help. That doesn't help. That's putting a Band-Aid on a gunshot wound. Because while we are embracing our like unprecedented liberation and our freedom that even our own mothers didn't have or don't have, we can recognize that there are some challenges with being the first of any kind. Being the first woman, being the first minority, being the first of any kind does come with its challenges, because you stand head and shoulders above people who come before you, and you are otherwise peerless. You have no other peers in your lane to look to kind of for guidance, or to look to for community or support outside of the community you may find on the internet via technology. But other than that, in real life, and what I appreciate, though, nonetheless, is that us single child-free women are being openly vulnerable about these things. And our openness is encouraging women who are partnered and women who are mothers to also be open about their challenges, too. I really appreciate the raw honesty that I see from, like, moms on social media talking about, you know, not every day is a walk in the park. There are days when I wonder, what the hell was I thinking? I see married women and women who have boyfriends who are like, yes, I love my partner, and he's a great man and he loves me and he's very supportive, and even with that, if he were to drop dead, I would never date again. You know what I mean? Like, it's like darkly comedic, darkly humorous, but I think it's I think there's space for it, and I think it's absolutely needed because it gives all of us perspective. While we are navigating these unprecedented freedoms that we have and fighting to maintain them for the women who will come behind us, and fighting to maintain them for ourselves, we can still acknowledge the vulnerability in being the first of our kind to live these kinds of lifestyles, right? We can still find virtual community with one another, even if in real life, maybe you feel as though you're on an island sometimes, and, you know, your friends in real life don't move like you do, and your family members in your real life don't move like you do. That's quite all right, because we still have one another, and that's part of the challenges of being the first of any kind, because we're setting the standard. We're setting the precedent. We're setting the tone, basically. And that is a work in progress, right? And there will be times where you will feel that grief, or it'll slap you in the face when you least expect it sometimes. It's not even like, oh, well, I normally feel lonely around the holidays or Valentine's Day. Like, it's just a random day and you're just like, oh my God, I don't have a boyfriend. Oh my God, how am I going to grow old? What's going to happen when I'm old? What will my life look like? You know, that's normal. And that is okay. The important thing is to acknowledge it and give it space and work through it, while also not falling into the trap of, well, this isn't sustainable. I'll just deal with anybody. I'll just take anybody. Maybe it won't be so bad if I just have a kid. You know what I mean? It can't be that hard. Or maybe, maybe my standards are too high for a man. Maybe I'll just settle. That's where we get dangerous, okay? Because there are also communities of women who are coaching us and telling us not to do that because they've learned the hard way that making decisions out of desperation and loneliness they're not sustainable. They're not the best decisions to make. Let's listen to those women, while also still making space for ourselves and making space and grace for yourself and the fullness of your humanity. All right? I mean, what else are you going to do? You're not a robot. You're not a machine. Even machines die. Even machines need maintenance. Even machines are imperfect. And you are a human being. And that's okay. And I say all of this as a professional misandrist. Your friendly neighborhood misandrist. Chief man-hater among... I'm first among women when it comes to being a man-hater. You know what I mean? I'm a lawyer. I'm a bad bee with a law degree. I'm a sociologist, in my mind, because I just have a sociology degree. I don't have any published studies yet. And I minored in anthropology. So I can say these things from an educational perspective. I can say these things from lived experience. I can say these things from professional experience and what I've seen working as a lawyer and working in nonprofits and things like that. I mean, we're human beings, and not every day is a walk in the park. You can ask anyone who's at the top of their game in any field or profession or industry that not every day is not fun to be at the top. Not every day is a fun day to be the first to be doing something. Not, you're learning as you go. You don't have a guidebook or anything or a handbook to teach you. We're learning as we go along, navigating lives being single and child-free. And we will continue to learn as we age, right? This is why one of the things I want to get into eventually is like elder law and having certain protections for elderly individuals who are single and who like never married or never had children, right? And also getting into like juvenile law a little bit too, and protecting children who may be in the system because neither of their parents are available or they have substance abuse issues, things like that. You know what I mean? Like, give yourself grace and space to be human. While you're decentering men, you're centering yourself as a woman, and that absolutely means centering your humanity and all the feelings therein.
The best way to either piss somebody off or have them ask you a whole host of unnecessary questions is to tell them that you do not want children as a woman of childbearing age that is physiologically able to bear children. Just tell them you don't desire them, you don't want them. It then becomes an open book quiz. Why is that? Well, y'all tell me y'all want 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 kids. I don't ask why. I don't judge. I do. But I don't let you know that I'm judging. I just, I listen, I learn, and I carry on. So why is it that when I say, hey, it's not really my thing, it's never really been my desire, not interested ever, it's confusion. Why? Because I'm a woman? Because I have a vagina? Because I have a uterus, ovaries? Does that automatically mean I want children? I don't.
I feel like personally, if you know in your family that you have a hereditary or genetic health problems, you shouldn't have kids. I don't care. I just seen a video of this family, and the father has this condition and the baby has it as well, and she has all these issues and stuff health wise. I don't care. I feel like you really shouldn't be having kids and pass it down. I'm child free and I don't want kids, and I just feel like it's really selfish to have kids knowing that you have the condition. I remember one time I was reading this post of this guy. Somebody knew the guy, and they said that the guy had a condition where he's gonna end up unaliving because of the condition that he has, and he ended up having kids because he wanted kids, and they're gonna have it too. I'm like, you're horrible. I don't care, you're horrible. Just for the sake of having kids, they're gonna have health problems. Why would you knowingly and willingly bring that into the world? I'm sorry, I just feel like you really shouldn't have them. I'm so against that. That's just my opinion. I don't care.
I'm telling women that do not have children that they're not tired. I cannot tell you how many times I've heard that. I'm a single woman with no kids, and people think that just because I'm not running around after somebody's son or my own son, that my exhaustion is obsolete. That is not the case. You have to understand that before you had children, you still was dealing with life problems. You may have lost a parent, lost a job, lost a relationship, fighting a chronic illness, falling into depression, have anxiety,
Whatever that is, stop downplaying women's exhaustion just because they're not doing quote unquote women's work to be tired. You know what's crazy? The people that perpetuate this the most are women with children. Women with children who deal with men that ignore their invisible labor. The same women project that onto other women that have a different form of invisible labor. At the end of the day, just validate that we're all tired for different reasons. But just because I don't have a kid does not mean I'm problem free, does not mean I'm relaxing in cabanas all day. I am living my life, figuring things out by myself, and that's exhausting.
So when people find out that I'm child free, they suddenly become very concerned about my legacy. They're like, Tim, what about your legacy? Don't you want to leave something behind when you die? What's going to be your legacy if you don't have kids? And my answer is no, I'm not concerned about my legacy. No, I don't care to leave something behind when I die. What's my legacy going to be? I don't know. I don't know. The people who survive me, who remember me, whatever they remember about me, that will be my legacy. Honestly, I really don't care. I try to live by my moral code. I try to be a good person. I try to help other people. If that's the legacy I leave behind, cool. But if it's not, I really don't care. I won't be here. I'm not going to go out there and procreate and have kids just so I can feel good about there being a little piece of me here when I'm gone. I'm good.
The decision to be child-free by choice is the decision that has single-handedly given me the most freedom in my 35 years of being a woman. I feel liberated from a timeline. I feel liberated from being beholden to a biological clock. I can date very freely, or not date if I don't want to, because again, I'm not chasing a timeline anymore. The decisions that I make and will affect me and only me, and that's really what I want. That's really what I want. Caregiving for my mother while she was sick, while I would do it all over again for her. Let me tell you, gave me insight on what it's like to be responsible for someone 24/7, be responsible for their well-being. And it's not easy. It's not easy. It's not easy at all. And I just decided I don't want that for myself. I like the freedom of the life I have now. Picking up and going when I want to, not picking up and going when I don't want to, making on-the-whim decisions. I love that for myself. And that does not mean that I have not grieved the fact that I will not be a biological mother, because I have left the room open for stepchildren, nieces and nephews, and possible adoption. However, I know that I do not want to sacrifice my time and freedom at all in any capacity. I would be an amazing mother. I would be a fantastic mother. But I know what that takes. I was raised by a single mother who died married to my father. So it's not like, whatever, baby mom, it wasn't that. So I know what it takes to raise children. And I know that after that, you're so depleted, you really don't have much time to pour into yourself. And I'm in a season where it's all about me and what I want. And as a reformed people pleaser, I'm also stepping into the lane of what do I want for me and what I don't want. And there's something that society say that, you should have that I do want. Listen, I want partnership. I desire partnership and marriage, I guess. But there's a bit of defiance in doing what I want to do instead of what society says I should be doing, which is rearing children. And I'm not going to lie, I love that for me. I love that feeling, honestly.
Here's the thing. I really feel like I can live my life like completely irresponsibly because I don't have no kids. Like, it's 3 a.m. I'm gonna sleep in tomorrow. Why? Because I don't have no kids. I'm eating Whataburger. Why? Because I don't have no kids. I'm outside all weekend. Why? Because I don't have
any kids. It's like I'm an adult, but I'm not an adult. Why? Because I don't have any kids.
And to the girls that don't have kids, it is a flex. And don't let nobody tell you nothing different. If you do not have children, that is definitely a flex. You know how much stuff I could get done if I did not have kids. Child. And I hate when women be disingenuous and say, oh, kid ain't never stopped nothing. And we are going harder because we have children. But imagine if you didn't have children. Do you know how much content I would produce if I wasn't doing coloring, homework, and investing time into my children? I love my life. I love my marriage. I love my children. But when I was single and I didn't have kids, baby, the world was at my fingertips. I got up and went. I did. You have a different level of responsibility when you have children and you have a family. The women that don't have kids don't have that same worry. They don't have that same, they don't got to get that same type of consideration. When you're that free, child, I remember the days. Again, I'm not saying that as a mother or as a wife or having a family slows you down, but you got to wonder. You got to wonder why so many of them are like, yeah, I'm good on that. I'm good on that. It's that. It's a flex. It's a flex.
As someone who's child free, I just have to say that Toya is absolute gold. I love the way that she mothers her children. I love the way that she's seen a life for herself and has literally materialized and created it. I love that her boys are like self-sufficient and that she feeds into all of their interests, making sure that they have everything that they need to be successful, to feel good about themselves. She also makes it very, very clear, like what women want and dating culture and all that, so that they're not more susceptible to that red pill pipeline. Like the conversations that they have are just so great, and it's so amazing to see her so present in her children's lives. And like, I just absolutely love watching her. She's strong. I think that she is like, she's not saying she's auntie age, or I'm not trying to say anything like that, but like, she's like, auntie that always has her hair laid. There's never a day that it is looking even a hair out of place. And I'm just like so happy for her when I see like the home that she's created. She probably put so much time and effort into that, working with architectures and interior designers, and over the years like learning things. Like, I look at her as someone who just really thought about what they wanted out of life in the long term and really figured out how they were going to get that. And like, as somebody who like grew up with so many mental health issues, I really like was one of those people who was like, I don't even think I'm going to make it this far. But watching her makes me want to like, think about, really think about like what I want my life to look like moving forward. Sorry for all of the mess. Like, I'm trying to get my holiday set up before we have a little party this weekend. But yeah, I just feel like she's just goals in so many ways. And like, I mean, like, I don't see myself with children, but I just like the way she parents just like inspires me as a person. It's very interesting for me personally because I got my tubes tied because I'm so opposed to it. But like, she is everything. She is everything. So flowers for Toya, because she truly is everything.